First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today and taking the time to come and see SolidCAD Variant. So just a quick agenda for today. We're going to just find out today who SolidCAD actually is, for those of you who don't know who we are. We're going to talk a little bit about Variant and what Variant actually is. We're going to see Variant and some workflows that are included with Variant. And then we're going to have a question and answer period. And then we'll get moving. So just a real quick SolidCAD timeline. One of the important things I really wanted to talk about here was just SolidCAD is really a very acquisition company. So back in 2015, SolidCAD had about 40 employees, and present day today, SolidCAD is about 145 employees. In fact, we just had another acquisition last week with a company by the name of AMS 360 that does CAM software. So SolidCAD is owned by Cancel. We're part of the Cancel umbrella. So we have access to a number of other solutions within that umbrella, including printers, scanners, geospatial information, as well as you can see, SolidCAD is the Autodesk partner. The industries that we serve here at SolidCAD, architecture, engineering, construction, plant, infrastructure, and today we're here talking about the manufacturing division. So at SolidCAD, we're here to help our clients implement their technologies and optimize their workflows. Using design, manage, and share, we can walk through how customers can use their design software, learn how to manage that information, and then go and collaborate along with the different parts of the company. We also have a bunch of partner products that we work with. Majestic Technologies is a company that we partner with for TrueNest, Fluid Flow for flow software, Faro and Leica and Matterport for scanning technologies. So we have a number of different technologies here at SolidCAD. SolidCAD is also a consulting services company. So not only do we provide you with software and training, but we provide you with product lifecycle management workflows, support, data management, and programming customization, which we're going to see a lot of that today, as well as support. Okay. SolidCAD has offices all across Canada. In fact, SolidCAD is Autodesk's largest Canadian partner. But not only do we deal with just Canada, we also have a partnership with Cative Technologies down in the United States. So whether you are an American company with Canadian parts or a Canadian company with American parts, we can work together to offer you a seamless and consistent customer experience. Just a quick look at the SolidCAD manufacturing team. We do have a number of different salespeople. If you're a customer of ours, you'll probably see your rep's name up here as well. We also have the largest bench of technical experience here at SolidCAD, spanning across the country as well. And we also have a dedicated software development team. Okay, we have expertise in all of the Autodesk APIs. There's a number of them listed here. Today we're going to see a couple of those. SolidCAD also has a Solid Assist technical support. So our customers who are our subscription customers and work with SolidCAD, our technical support is free of charge. I'm sure a number of you on this call have actually used the SolidCAD Solid Assist technical support. Today we're here to focus on Variant. So Variant is a web-based configurator product that goes beyond just regular CPQ, configure, price, quote. Okay, so you're going to be able to see 3D viewables, You get an associated bill of materials and professional quote along with this. Okay, it's built on Forge platform. SolidCAD is a Forge certified systems integrator. We've also developed in some workflows within Variant to streamline the order to manufacturing process, and we're going to see some of that today. So some of Variant's key features. So it is a web-based, so there is no install. There's nothing for you to host. Everything is up on the cloud, so you can access this, whether you're a salesperson or your customer can access it anywhere at any time. Improve sales cycles. Okay, so Variant's going to allow you to increase and reduce your engineering cycle times with the quotation to design to manufacture process. So building those professional quotes, giving your customer access to that very quickly and easily. We have also integrated Variant with Autodesk Fusion Lifecycle as well as ERPs. So working along with a workflow to say I would like to create an order and have that order go through. We're going to see a lot of that today. And Variant uses iLogic technology. So if you have used iLogic from within Inventor to create some basic configurations within engineering, we are going to enable that and use that throughout the whole entire sales process. So Autodesk Fusion Lifecycle, SolidCAD is specialized in Fusion Lifecycle, and Fusion Lifecycle is a PLM product that we use to automate different processes or manage a bill of materials and connect into ERP systems, whether it's a quality assurance process that you have or a change management process. We're going to go through and see how Variant connects in with Fusion Lifecycle. So what I'd like to do now is just move over to Variant, and let's go through a live demo of the product along with the workflows. So I'm just going to get myself logged in here, if I can remember my my password. Okay. So now that we're logged into Variant, you can see that it comes up very quickly. Okay, so it is a web interface, gives you access to interrogate the models. We have a number of products listed here on the side. As I select those products, they are going to become viewables in the window that I can now interrogate and work with those models. Okay. So it being a web interface, I actually loaded it up on my iPad the other day and my phone and ran through a configuration as well. So access anywhere at any time. I can go full screen. I can look at my options. So just moving down, let's take a look at a couple of just configuration options that we have here. So when I go through and I select the number of bases on this playset, if I say one base, you can see a number of the options disappear down here for me. When I say two bases, it comes up and says, oh, by the way, now that you say two bases, you have a lot more options to you. Okay, so we've added in a lot of logic inside here. Today, we're actually going to work with the bale spear, and this is from our customer Horst Welding, and they allowed us to use this product inside the Variant product, so we're very happy to be using this bale spear from Horst. So let's go through and actually build a configuration. So I'm going to select just a model that I can use. And as you can see, the updates for the model come very quickly. Okay, I generally don't have to wait for anything to be selected. So let's just go through and create ourselves a quick configuration. All right, so now that I have this configuration, I'm going to go through and generate this. And what it's going to do is it's going to send this up to the cloud to go through and calculate and give me all my drawings and quotes and everything that I've required. It's going to bring that all down for me. So with the Forge interface, I have the ability to orbit, zoom, or pan, okay, very easily just by using my mouse. I do have a cube up here that I can use as well, just to zoom around and move my objects around. Some of the other options that we have some measure options down here. So if I wanted to see how far apart these tines were, I could see that they're 22.8 inches apart. I could go through and explode this model if I wanted to, just to see how it was actually put together. Okay, so it might allow me just to see some internal components possibly. Okay, we can also go through and section our model. So maybe I would like to just go through and see, hey, what do those internals look like? Okay, so we can easily go through and see what that might look like internalized. Some of the other options, maybe we want to single out this component up here. Maybe we want to isolate this component so we can actually take a look at that. And I can see in the bill of materials, what is this component? Well, I can see that that's the draw pin. So it gives me a little bit more information than just a model that it's created. Okay, now that we've got the model created and we've sent that up and everything is created for us, let's go through and see what we can actually do here now. So we actually have a quote that is created for us. Okay, so I can go through and say, I'd like to download this quote. So these quotes are customizable by you, the customer. Put your logo up here. It is dynamic, so I am logged in, so it's got my name here. It puts the date and so on. We've got a little pricing put in here. Okay, we've gone through and created a number of views that we've attached to this quote. So if these are things that you would like to put in your customer-facing quote to make that customer experience a little better, you're able to go through and customize this any way you would like. I can also download a drawing. So it's gone through and it's created a drawing for me. So in this drawing, we just have an isometric view along with a bill of materials. If you wanted balloons added here or any dimensions, these are just drawings that you could create on your own that would be able to be downloaded. I also have a bill of materials that's created along with this. And with that, I can download this bill of materials to a CSV file. Okay, so we can see here that it has downloaded the information. It's given me what part number it is, how many there are, and what it's made of. I can also send this directly to an ERP. And right now I am not connected to an ERP, so this button wouldn't really do anything for me right now. I can also download the configuration. So by downloading the configuration, what it's going to give me is it's going to give me all the parts and assemblies, everything that I need in order to create this model. So maybe I wanted to do a little bit more engineering on it. And the last button we have is order configuration. Okay, I'm going to go through and actually submit this as an order. So customer name, I'm going to put my name in here, my email, and my phone number, and my company name is my farm. If I had any special requests in here, like I wanted to maybe make the tines yellow instead of red, I could enter that information here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the workflow. So I'm going to order that. So what's happening now is because of our integration that we have between Variant and Fusion Lifecycle, I can see that Fusion Lifecycle has received my order. Here it is right here. Okay, so Mark's Farm, there's my phone number, there's my customer information. It's actually loaded in some Variant information for me. It loads in some IDs, what's the name of the assembly, all of this information. So what is happening right now in the background is there's also integrations built within Vault. So right now, all this information and all the parts and assemblies and so on are being loaded into Vault. They're being updated and so on. So we've completed a workflow that we're going with, okay? So as I can see right now, it's under review, so it needs to go through approval. So while it's doing that, let's go through and actually take a look at some of the other functionality we have here. So within Variant is I have an asset manager for saved configurations and products. So I can go in and add my own products in here. So we're going to do that. Let's go add a product right now. Okay, so the product that we're going to add is we are going to add a railing. Okay, so let's go through and get this added. So let me go through and select a bucket. So the bucket is just a place in Forge for me to put all of the information. I'm going to go and I'm going to find that file to upload. So there's my railing. Okay. Now I need a project file and a drawing file and a root file. So I've got that information just kind of set off to the side here. So to make things easy, I'm just going to copy and paste that information in. So there's my project file from within inside Inventor. Okay. Here is my drawing file that I'm going to use. And then I need to bring in my assembly file. Okay. So now I've put in all of that information. I'm going to go through and just select just a couple more buckets here to put in some basic information or some information that we don't want to keep. Where's my quote going to end up? Okay. And I'm also going to go out and I've created myself a Word document for this quote. I'm just going to load that up. And we're going to upload this. So what's happening now is Variant is going out and it's getting the information from within inside my railing parts, and it's saying, where are all the parameters? What parameters do you want to use to drive your configurations with? Okay. So here comes up with a list of parameters that were already put into our Inventor files that were created with iLogic and so on. So I'm just going to do some cleaning up here. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to put some spaces in here because this is a display name that's going to show up within Variant. So let's just clean this up a little bit. Let's make this a little bit more, this is what I want to see. Okay, paint, I'm going to say paint color. Okay, different colors I have here. And then we'll say bottom rail style. Great, perfect. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to generate all the viewables to go with inside Variant. So when I go into Variant and I select my product and I go in and I select an option and that variable goes and makes that change and it updates my model for me, that's what's going on in the background here, is it's going in and creating all of that information for me and loading it into the Variant interface so I can go out and create a configuration of this railing. Okay, so it shouldn't take too much longer here for it to go through and load that information in.
Hey, Mark, maybe just while we're waiting, there was a question that came up, which I had intended to actually type the response, but said I'd answer it live by accident, so I guess we'll do so. The question is this meant to be an internal tool, obviously speaking of Variant, external or both? If you are allowing customers to access the configurator, can you limit their access to some of the functionality? So if you wouldn't mind going ahead and answer that one.
Yeah, so so Variant was developed to either be for your sales department or to be actually customer facing. So we're going to go through and talk about the different user licenses that are available. But yes, the functionality for the users, if you had it customer facing or sales facing, a lot of the technology for adding different components or changing the names of them or those types of things is not available in the user license that we have available. You would need to have that administration purpose. So did that answer the question, Ryan?
I think it does. Thanks, Mark.
Perfect. Okay, so here we can see we've got our railing in here. Now I know I needed a thumbnail, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go through and just take a screenshot of this because I need to add this just like the other ones with my thumbnail. So I'm just going to go say, save this. I know I've already got one. I'm just going to overwrite it. Perfect. All right. So let's just take a quick look at what we've got here. So I can go through and select the different materials. Maybe it's aluminum. Maybe the bottom rail is a rail. It's not a plate. Okay. And go through and select my rail height. So I can see here that I may have a little problem. Now, what do I mean by that is I can go in here now and say, you know what, this is 10,000 inches high. Well, that might be quite an impossibility to build. So maybe what I should have the ability to do is go in and limit what my entries are. Well, we have the ability to do that. So let's actually just go back in into our products here and let's edit that. So here's my railing. First of all, I'm going to update the thumbnail. Okay, so we have the railing that's going to show up there. Let's upload that. I'm going to edit the parameters. Okay, so the rail height. Okay, so what I need to do is add in a value condition. Okay, so what I'm going to say here is I'm going to put an if statement in, and that if statement I'm going to add is this one here. And I'm not going to type it again, but basically what it's telling me here is the rail height variable can't be smaller than 24, but it can be equal to 24, and it can't be greater than 48, but it can be equal to 48. So I'm going to add that as a note here. Okay, rail height must be between 24 and 48 inches. And I'm going to save that. Okay, so now when we're done with that, let's go back out. We can see our thumbnail is nicely uploaded here. Let's click on the railing. Okay, and now when I go through, I can see that it says rail height must be between 24 and 48. So if I say it's 50, it's going to say enter a value. Well, I'm going to say 36. Okay, and then I'm just going to go through and just generate that. Okay, so it's going to go through and put that once again up to the cloud, get everything developed that we need to get developed with the drawing and the quote, and bring up all of that information is what it's going to do. Okay, perfect. So we've gone through, we've uploaded that, we've entered a condition, and so on. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to just go through and let's just see here. Asset manager. Let's go and load that saved configuration that we had earlier. Okay. So this is going to be the last one that we did. I'm just going to load that back up into the system. So if you are working with a customer and you haven't gone through the order yet and your salesperson wants to save that configuration, they can go through and just save that configuration. Okay. So what I'd like to do now is let's go back to Fusion Lifecycle, and I'm just going to refresh Fusion Lifecycle because it is a cloud app. We can see now that this order that we had has been moved to an approved order. Okay. So in the background, while we were working, what was going on is there was a bunch of connections being built in with Vault and Fusion Lifecycle and so on. And this order has come through as an approved order. If we would have asked for additional changes, it would have taken this route. But we can see that this is a route that it took. So what else can I do here? Okay, so I can take a look at the bill of materials information. Okay, so right now, this information has been loaded in here. I can see that I now have an uploaded bill of materials. So from my engineering bill of materials, it comes into Fusion Lifecycle where now I have a manufacturing bill of materials. So I can add items here. So if I wanted to add, let's say, I know one of the things that we always had when I was out in industry is we had a serial number tag that we'd have to add on. We never added that into our engineering bill of materials, but I can go and add that here. Okay, so I've now added this tag to this manufacturing bill of materials. Okay, so now that I've done that, maybe I can go back to this approval workflow, and now I can say, you know what, now I want to release that to production. So I added the serial number tag, and I'm going to say save them. So what I've done is I have now just moved that one more step down, that order process workflow. And the next one we have is I can connect that up into an ERP system that I have. So if I want to push my bill of materials in so I can start my ordering of materials, see what's in stock and so on, all those great things that your ERP system does, I can now have an accurate and live bill of materials to push in.
Hey, Mark, maybe if I could interrupt you just for one quick second.
Yeah.
Maybe is the appropriate time. A question came in, I'd maybe like you to just answer. Do you need Fusion Lifecycle to run Variant? And since you're in Fusion, I figured it'd be a good time to maybe table that question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Ryan. And the answer to that is no, you don't need Variant, or you don't need Fusion Lifecycle in order to run Variant. So Variant is a product all on its own. If you wanted to go through and create configurations and save those configurations and just have them saved somewhere where you could access them later and so on, that's great. We have integrated it with Fusion Lifecycle to build in an automatic process for ordering. So if you wanted to have that option, we could definitely have that option for you. If you wanted to integrate Variant directly into your ERP system and not use Fusion Lifecycle, that can also be done as well.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Perfect. So just to finish off here as well, just one more thing with Fusion Lifecycle as I'm going through and looking. We do also have viewables that are built in here as well. So I can definitely take a look at that assembly that was just created and so on with inside Fusion Lifecycle. So if somebody doesn't have access to Variant or have access to any of your information, let's say it's a production manager or so on, he has the same information flowing through the system as everybody else does. And once again, if you look down here, the system is very similar to Variant because it is using the Forge interface with inside Fusion Lifecycle as well to do all of that information. Perfect. So at this point, that kind of wraps up the live demonstration of Variant and Fusion Lifecycle. So let's just take a quick look here. So once again, just to bring up some key features from within Variant. So once again, it is web-based, so nothing to install. It's accessible anytime, anywhere, okay? And as we did talk about, if you want your salespeople to access it, that's great. If you want to open it up to a customer-facing website, you have the ability to do that as well, where they won't have all that functionality to upload models, change the variables, and so on, okay? So allowing you to increase your cycle or increase your sales by reducing your engineering cycle times, okay? So I know a lot of customers that I talk to, that interaction between sales and engineering can go on for a long time and then back to the customer and so on. So it's just reducing that time and that information. If you could be standing in front of your customer with Variant open and picking those options and have that customer see exactly what they're going to get and understand how much that's going to cost, you've just saved yourself a lot of time. Okay, so building those professional quotes as well. So those are customizable by yourself, however you want that to look for customer facing. And once again, we do have it integrated within Fusion Lifecycle and ERP for that workflow process of order processing. If that's something that's really interesting to you and you want to be able to have that process and simplify that process, we have that built in. And using iLogic, so if you've gone through and you have created that, or maybe you haven't used iLogic before, that's something that we can help you out with here at SolidCAD. Okay, so going through and using that iLogic information to go through and create that information with inside Variant. So just a quick pricing structure for you. So these are named user licenses. So the Variant Administrator license, okay, is $4,500, and these are Canadian prices. Okay, so it does come with a number of cloud credits, initialization setup. So we set up your databases, get your users set up, and so on. And then we have the user licenses. So say you had a number of salespeople, you had 4 or 5 salespeople, those are $300 each. And those licenses, once again, would not have the ability to go in and administrate anything with inside Variant. Okay, we have a number of different setup options for you that are available. So just reach out and we'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. As well as we have talked a little bit about it, but there are enterprise and customer facing options that we do have available as well. So just reach out and we can talk about those options if that's something that is that's of interest to you. And not to take anything away from today's presentation, but if you want a little bit of a deeper focus on the workflows and kind of how the working goes on in the background within Variant and so on, we do have a class at Autodesk University this year. It's called Sales Engineering Automation using Forge, Fusion Lifecycle, and Vault. Okay, so Ryan and I actually have a live Q&A on November 18th. So get yourself registered for Autodesk University. It's free this year, so take advantage of that. We also have a booth at Autodesk University this year. So we have people that are manning that booth. Come by, have any of your questions answered on Variant or any of the other solutions and stuff we may offer. So at this point, I would like to say thank you so much for your time today. We would like to do some question and answer period here. So if there are any questions we haven't answered that Ryan and I can't answer for you, please send them in the Q&A box, and we'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you now.
All right, great. Thanks, Mark. So I believe everybody does have access to the answered questions. We did do a couple of them live.
Perfect.
You can see that I did, if you refer to the Q&A, you'll see that I did answer a few of them, also just typing. So you can refer to see that to see some of the questions that others had asked and answered. So we are getting some questions that are coming in here, Mark. So how are the options programmed into the models?
Ryan, that's probably a question that I'm going to let you answer, if that's okay.
Yep, sure, no problem. So we are leveraging iLogic, which of course is the Inventor desktop, configuration rules-based or rules-based configuration tool. So the rules that you are building into your models via iLogic, those are basically being carried through into Variant. So you don't have to rebuild those rules on the Variant side. Okay. Okay, let's see. Mark, in regards to a couple questions about the CSV, for the CSV export of the bill of material, can the length of each member be included? So I think what they're referring to there is, when we're exporting a preset column. I think they're just asking if there's a way that they can have additional fields added in, to the export beyond the ones that we're including now.
Yeah, if I can go back to my Inventor days from many years ago, I do believe that you can pull in a good majority of information into your bill of materials and so on. So any variables you can pull in there. So I do believe that length could be something you could pull into that bill of materials and then have exported out. Okay. The answer to that is yes.
Okay, great. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so is Variant a potential replacement for Configurator 360? And probably that's alluding to some forthcoming change to the C360 product.
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So Configurator 360 was a was a product by Autodesk that they had out. Yeah, there's a huge amount of similarities between Variant and Configure 360. Configure 360 has actually been taken off the Autodesk price list. They've already said they're not selling it anymore and so on. So if you are looking for a direct replacement to Configure 360, Variant would be an excellent replacement for your existing Configure 360 product.
Okay, very good. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, actually, I think at the moment the question and answer panel is actually clear. So again, just if you do have any questions, please, by all means, submit them into the Q&A panel. Okay, it looks like we have one here. So, Mark, and maybe I'll answer this one if it's actually okay. As you were changing the options, the model was updating immediately. Therefore, why did you need to click on generate? Okay, so the example data set there that we were using, and you would have maybe seen when Mark was going through and adding in his railing product, there was an option for preloaded. So the idea behind a preloaded model is it just allows you to kind of get real-time model updates as you're changing your options. However, you know, certainly in some of your models, you know, you're going to have, you know, potentially ranges or unlimited numbers of variables. And, you know, in that case, you know, it's not feasible for us to do the real time, so we have to hit the generate. In either case, even in a, you know, even with a data set that's purely preloaded, we know where you're just able to have all the options there and see the model update real time. We still have to do things like update the drawings because, of course, we're only looking at the 3D model in Variant until you hit generate. That's where we use the, you know, the options as far as, yeah, updating the drawings and our quote, sorry, updating our quote, you know, making sure we grab the screenshots and updating the table. So, so that's really what the generate option is there for. So. Okay, let's see, we've got some other questions. Is there a trial period available?
That's a great question. As of right now, we don't really have anything set up for a trial period, but if that is something that you are interested in, yeah, let's reach out and let's talk about that. I'm sure there's something we can put in your hands for yourself to play with and use. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Another one, are we able to change the look of our quotation?
Yeah, so that quotation is once again, it is dynamic. It is pulling information from within inside Variant that you have entered, but it is 100% customizable by you. So however you want that quote to look with your own logo on top, do you want 3 views? Do you want 5? Do you want pricing in there? What other information would you like to add? It is customizable by you.
Okay, very good. And I think here, oh, let's see, I just got another, oh, a couple others come in. And let me just have a look here. Okay, can the customer export files like step and DWG from their configurations? Do the customers use a user license? So there's, I guess, 2 questions there.
Yeah. If you want to go ahead and answer that first one for sure, Ryan, that would be great.
Sure. Okay. So I'll deal with the second part of the question first. So, you know, from a customer side of things, I think that's referring to a case where you, or I'm assuming it's based off of, you know, where you've got, you know, public access, if you will, to your configurator. And in that case, no, it's not going to be a user license. It's a different pricing model. The first part of your question, can the customer export files like steps and DWGs from their configurations? So it could, it's not part of what we have in there by default right now. Interestingly, if you do see, or, if we are able to attend the AU session, which by the way, AU is virtual this year and is completely free, we actually do show as part of our integration on the Vault side that we've actually done some automatic step and DBG exports, or DXF exports, I think it's actually in that example. So we would get it on the Vault side. Okay, let's just see here. So I'm just reading a question. Okay. Yeah, I'll maybe deal with that question separately, just because I think it's maybe a little bit more detailed than for the webinar here. Other question I have is, how are the cloud credits consumed?
Okay, well, I'm going to let you answer that one as well.
Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah, so this is so for the Forge product, which of course, as Mark mentioned, we're basing Variant off of. It does consume cloud credits, and Forge is based off of a number of different APIs, some of which are free and some of which do consume cloud credits. The one that we are using specifically within Variant is what is known as the Design Automation API, specifically the Inventor Design Automation API, which is really iLogic on the web, and that is based off of or consumes basically cloud credits at 6 credits per processing hour. So, roughly speaking, if you were to do some sort of quick math here, let's say, when you click the generate button, it was to take, let's say 60 seconds to keep the math simple. In that case, we would consume 0.1 credits, from that Design Automation API. So it obviously is dependent on the complexity of your model and therefore the time it generates, but it is based off of a consumption of 6 credits per processing hour. And like I said, just based on an example where you took you 60 seconds, that would work out to 0.1 credits. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions at this moment. We'll give it maybe just another few seconds here, and if nothing else comes in, then we'll end the call. So if you have any other outstanding questions, please don't hesitate to submit them to the panel there. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions here coming in, Mark.
Okay.
So, was there anything else you wanted to add before I conclude the webinar here?
Yeah, just if anybody does have any other questions, my information's up on the screen. Feel free to reach out to myself or Ryan or your account rep that you have. We'd be more than happy to answer any of these questions. If you want to see a deeper dive or whatever you would like to do, just reach out. We're more than happy to answer any questions.
All right, perfect. And I didn't see any other questions come in there, Mark, while you were speaking. So I think we'll bring the webinar to a close. So again, I want to echo, as you said, thanking everybody for taking the time to attend today. And in addition to either them contacting yourself or myself at ryan.small@solidcad.ca, you can also visit our website at www.solidcad.ca/variant. And with that said, thanks so much for your time today and have a great rest of the day.